Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Cobalt Wins League Season 6. I am Podslam, and on the mic with me is Macaria. Macaria, how are you doing on this lovely evening?
Hey Pods, welcome everybody. I'm doing awesome. I was so excited to see what the teams can do tonight.
Yeah, and we have some nice teams playing for you right now, namely that of Horus Esports and Aftermath Clarity. So Aftermath Clarity, they've already played a little bit during this season, but this is actually Horus Esports' debut. This is their first game in the league, and all of the players on their roster are new as well. So none of them have any Cobalt Wins League experience. They might have other, competitive experience in other leagues, but nothing in this one. So this is going to be completely new territory, not only for us, but for them as well.
Exactly, and this is where we can say it is time to shine. It is the moment of truth where we get to see what these players, what this team can bring to the league. If they can maybe be one of the big surprises and go for the top spot, or they might just be one of those teams, in the middle of the pack who get to show some surprise for us. So surely a team that we need to keep an eye out, and we have to look for every single member, whether they have any cheesy peaks maybe, or they get some interesting, I would say, unique experience or unique approach to the games. We never know.
Yeah, always looking to have some cheese picks in the game, bit of a cheese connoisseur myself. And looking at the different ranks of these teams, Aftermath Clarity, almost entirely Diamond 1. They do have Seitai, who is in the Masters rank. But then over on Horus, they got two players in Masters, but also 17-year-old Gumiyushi. And I'm trying to read that last name, and it is incredibly small font, so I believe it's 21. They are both Plat 1. So that is a pretty significant rank differential between, Aftermath Clarity and Horus Esports team. But, just because they are a little bit lower on the ranked ladder does not necessarily mean that they are a worse player at all, because I've seen some incredibly talented players who are a little bit lower on the, rank status, who have absolutely popped off in this league and in other leagues as well. So rank is nothing but a fancy title if you are able to play correctly. And Horus Esports, just like we were saying, looking to prove that in their debut game.
Exactly, and this is where also, if you are the opponents of, let's say, someone who's lower ranked, you can't underestimate them. They might just get, as I said, some picks that you wouldn't expect, or they might have certain tactics where they just get ahead in early game, and then suddenly you're realizing, okay, they might be below me in their solo rank, but it's a team game, and we playing as a team. I believe Horus Esports could do some magic here, but also they really need to be careful in 2v2s, for example, or how they approach the game as well, because just having higher ranks, we can say that the experience is different in the lines of Clarity, and they might as well just try and win it by force.
Yeah, and I love what you said about the 2v2 aspects of it. And normally when we think of a 2v2, we either think of the jungle and one of the solo lanes, or just flat out bot lane with ADC and support. So, I mean, if we look on the side of Clarity, they have Alvets Pro and Chaka, who is just insane so far, trying to, staple their bot of the best. But over on Horus, they have 17-year-old Gumiyushi and Goke, who I don't believe it's actually Gumiyushi. I don't think he is over here playing in the Cobalt Wins League when he should be playing in the LCK. But who knows? Maybe
he's the younger version.
That's right. He's this is actually his Smurf account, so keep that in mind. I was not paid to say that, but here we are. Anyways, in Champ Select now for this best of 2 series.
And this is where, because they're playing on live server, we expect something close to the meta, which I would say still super bot lane focused. For example, the Affiliate's got a bit nerfed in this patch. but also Rel is super strong. These champions could turn up. I would say the hyper carries like Jinx could get some words as well, and also Nico on the mid lane, who is one of the picks that we need to keep an eye out for. And to be fair, I'm still waiting for something surprising big, you know, something that will catch our eye, and we will be like, you know what, this is the guy that we need to look pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, looking at these, last patch notes that came out a few weeks ago, a lot of nerfs hitting nearly every single role. I think one of the only roles that wasn't touched was, top lane. But yeah. I mean, in the eyes. Oh, here, go ahead.
Yeah, with top lane, the thing is, I believe the meta is still evolving after even 2-3 weeks, and I've seen recently so many Rumbles turning up, and that's a bit of a surprise for me, at least, because I haven't seen too many Rumble before, and then suddenly everybody started playing him.
Yeah, Rumble, a very scary champion if you're able to play it right. An even scarier champion being hovered is Teemo. I don't believe we are going to see it out of Aftermath. If we do, then I will go running through the streets with my shirt off, because it's a great day, and J4 is going to be locked in instead. But we do see that Horus had locked in Xayah with that first pick, so incredibly strong ADC right now, especially if you're able to pair it with that Rakan pick, and it looks like Aftermath are gonna counter that potential Xayah Rakan with the Rel.
Yeah, that Rel already one of those picks that we need to keep an eye out. Perfect for engages, especially pairing with the Jarvan. That's a huge burst damage and CC chain combined all together. I believe Xayah would need some more protection. As you mentioned, the Rakan would be okay, but the Thresh might just be better against the Rel. And as we mentioned before, the 2v2 will be very important on the bot lane.
We see Thresh and Xayah locked in for Horus, as well as Jinx and Rel locked in for Aftermath. Both junglers presumably picked for both teams. Obviously, you can flex the Wukong top lane. You could even flex J4 top lane or mid if you really wanted to. I don't think that is going to be the case, so I feel like we have those locked in for these teams. But now a lot of mid lane bans are for sure going to come out. We already see Ahri, who another insanely high priority pick, as well as Orianna, who has really been meta since she was added to the game so many years ago. And look, 4 mid lane bans in the second phase.
Plus, we've seen the Nico and LeBlanc got put on the side in the first phase of the bans, and we get to see Aftermath Clarity will counterpick that mid lane on top of all these bans.
And it looks like Horus are going for an incredibly up close and personal composition. Wukong and Jax locked in for them, as well as the Thresh. He can get up there too. But it is going to be a very standard front to back composition for Horus. Wanting to keep Victor and Xayah as far away from the Olaf, J4, and Rel as you can. But, that's the issue with Olaf, J4, and Rel. You can try and run as fast as you can, but one of them has an ultimate that makes him immune to CC. One of them has a flag and drag on top of a giant cage. And then one of them is a big metal horse that can pull you in with her ultimate. So many different ways to dive onto the back line. Would not be surprised if we saw a 17-year-old Gumayusi go for a Gale Force, maybe even hop for the cleanse, to try and, counter the Rel stun, the Cassiopeia ultimate, other stuff like that, just to be even a little bit more on the safe side.
Yeah, I would agree as well. Cleanse or Ghost would be the 2 best options for the Xayah here. But the Ghost is very risky, especially after Cassio is completing the Rylai, because that will surely happen. And seeing the Cassiopeia come in as last pick after 6 mid lane bans is something that's gonna cost a lot to Horus Esport to handle, because you can't really just go in for the Cassio as a surprise. she will see every single movement of these champions that are on the side of Horus, and she will have the chance to use her ultimate to just stop the engage of Horus Esport.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, with Cassiopeia, that's such, you know, deep into a lot of players' champion pools. I mean, if you are able to play Cassiopeia, you could really shut down a lot of compositions. Because if we look over at Horus, we see Go Back and Chase on these champions that have dashes, that like to jump in your face, that really like to try and get on top of you. But if you throw down that miasma, it can disrupt entire team fights, because not only does it slow, obviously, and that's pretty annoying, but it prevents you from using any movement abilities, flash included. So even if you do manage to get up in their face, a well-placed miasma will just leave you left for dead, because you don't have anything to really like protect you. I mean, Jax, he's got his ultimate and he has the, you know, counter strike, but the counter strike isn't going to block the Cassiopeia shooting those poison fangs at you. That's not how that works. Then Wukong might have his clone, but on top of that, he's still slowed from the miasma. So he's going to have he's going to have such a, you know, big issue trying to fight this Cassiopeia unless both of them get incredibly far ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. The early game could always rewrite our predictions,
Yes,
or our expectations. But the thing is, if we look at a team fight where both teams has got equal opportunities, I would say it's still gonna be in favor of Clarity. The Cassiopeia will be the one that gives the first step in the favor for Clarity, and then as soon as you get through the miasma, there will be Rel and Jarvan who's peeling for that Jinx and Cassio. Or if you're lucky enough, you might as well, if you're Horus, you try and move backwards after the miasma was used, because Olaf will use the Ragnarok and run at you like a crazy Viking, and to deal with that is another issue for Horus Esport. The only thing that I really like to see is that Xayah can burst the Olaf.
Yeah, if the Xayah is really able to shred the Olaf's armor before he can get up in the face, then it's going to make it very difficult for Aftermath to get it going. But speaking of get it going, we are going to hop into a short break while we get this game ready and started for you all. So don't look anywhere else but your browser. Cobalt Wins League. We'll be right back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are hopping into this first match between Horus Esports and Aftermath Clarity. And we see Aftermath, having that 5-man stack in the bottom lane, trying to catch someone out from Horus, but they're going to have no dice, but they are going to catch a silly little Thresh near the Tri-Brush. I don't believe they have any way to catch him just yet. Death might flash to flip him over, and he does get it. The Glacial Augment gonna slow him down, and it's gonna lead to his demise. The Ignite is gonna tick down, and they're gonna hand it over to Alvance Pro. Aftermath starting this game off in just the right fashion.
This is the best possible scenario that could happen for Aftermath. After basically just chasing poor Trash to his end, it's giving the kill to the Jinx is something like a free bot lane, I would say, or at least a head start on bot lane, especially with the longsword that's in the pocket of that Jinx.
Yeah, being able to come back with some more AD under your belt already makes this lane so much better, because I don't know if they were expecting to win this lane or, for it to just go a little bit even, but having that extra damage just, puts a little bit of a cushion between you and the opponents.
And also, we need to remember that both supports playing with Hex Flash. And I have to say, for the Rel, it is something that will be very useful. I mean, Thresh is not as tanky as Rel. And because of the Hex Flash, you get a very good opportunity to just surprise your opponents from a bush like this and do some nice little trades. Especially when your jungler arrive. So if Hattoon will decide, you know what, I'm coming bot, then that Hex Flash will be very useful for this bot lane.
Yeah, and both of them having Glacial Augment as well can just even amplify that. But we see top lane Chase in a bit of trouble, is going to dodge the axe of Teletau right there. And you got to play it safe, because if you get too aggro against this Olaf, you might see yourself back in the fountain. But Olaf did use the Ghost in that first engagement down bot lane, so that is something that Cornfield Chase can, have some comfort in. But we do see Alvance Pro and Death roaming up through the river. I don't know if 21 knows about this. We see Hoxtenka going in onto Teletau. He has the flash available. He is going to flash, but the flash counter strike just barely going to miss. Chase throwing up the thumbs up, even though he missed his combo right there. And Death goes in there, forces the flash out of 21 Kaya right there. And that is going to be some nice summoner spells traded, especially if you are Phosmaniac.
We get to see so many actions, and there is more in the jungle here at the Baron Pit. Basically, both solo laners used Flash on the side of Horus. Now, is the question of how are they going to answer? Because Hoxtenka, Göbek need to find a way to help out if they don't want to lose more. Okay, that's a nice hook, but there's nothing to follow it with. So I want to see that Wukong basically trying to gank either top lane a bit more to punish Teletau, or oh no.
Yeah, I don't know why Chase is staying right here. The one more axe might have killed him, but Teletau is going to back off right there. And Phosmaniac, got to be careful. You're walking very close to this Victor, who, even though he only has a Doran's Ring, does have some nice base damage to his name. And Gokai gonna get the the cannon minion for his ADC, and Death gonna hop right back in there. Ignite is going to be popped. 17-year-old having to use that flash out right there. No heal available. Chase had TP'd back up to the top lane, so that's why he was able to get some nice damage onto Teletau, who had a back earlier than he did, so something he's got going for them. And Death once again going in for this dive right here. Gokai got to be careful, throws down the lantern to get some extra shielding. Alvance dodging that hook right there, which surely would have led to him using that cleanse or that flash.
Yeah, it was quite close. If that hook hits, probably they would have gone all in for Evans, but this time around, the Jinx can keep both summoner spells. On the mid lane, however, it's quite hard trade.
Ooh, 21 having to flash away, but it's not going to matter. Foz actually gets in and a nice re-engage out of Hatoon right there, who's going to save his mid laner's life. Foz Maniac with the solo bolo onto 21.
And with that said, that's 2 kills in favor of Aftermath Clarity. If it goes this way, they will have 2 very strong carry coming into the mid game, but that's a bit later on. For now, I want to see somehow Horus trying to punish them, because so far we yet to see, I would say, a gank from Göbek that's actually worked out well for them.
Chase getting some nice trade damage. He does have the ultimate advantage right now. Teletao is not level 6 yet. He could be incredibly close to it, though. But if we look bot side, Ostenka looking to try and get something going, but it is warded, and Death going to be flayed back. Glacial Augment going to provide a little bit more slows, but Hatoon is here for the counter gang. Death going to flash out, and a nice death sentence back to bring him forward. Ostenka going to pick up the kill, but it is now a 2v2. Alvance is getting excited. Isn't going to be able to make it work on the other side of the map. Talito gets a kill. 17-year-old Gumayushi, such low health bars. The flash forward out of Gokai is going to miss, and Hatoon with the flash flag and drag going to get the kill. Alvance uses a cleanse to get rid of that exhaust, and a 3-4-2 going in favor of Aftermath.
Crazy fights on both sides of the map, and right now Aftermath is going all in. 4-0 Jinx after 7 minutes of gameplay. That is crazy, and that's an all-in on the mid lane as well from Foz Maniac.
Yeah, but if we see this replay right here, it was such a good look out of Horus, but then Hatoon with the amazing flag and drag knockup on both Gokai and 17-year-old Gumayushi that just allowed Alvance to get excited once again and have that extra speed that he needs to get in range. Just such a great play by them. And yeah, just like you were saying, 4-0 on Alvance now already has that Kraken Slayer, which at this point in the game, man, you might as well just, give up the rest of the laning phase if you're 17-year-old Gumayushi.
Yeah, this is what I was looking at. Kraken Slayer after 7 minutes. That means the team on red side will be very happy to take every dragon. They will be very happy to kind of dominate the bot lane. However, this will be painful for Death.
Yeah, Death getting very greedy for a ward as a support main. I feel the same way, my friend. Gokai taking some nice return damage, though, so it wasn't all for nothing. And we do see that Hatoon is behind them right here. Could we see a potential engage out of him? Oh, Cornfield Chase on the other side of the map gets his revenge on the Teletao. But we could still see something going on here. Death use the Hex Flash into the bush right there. Gokai gonna get dove onto the flay away, gonna get Death out of his range a little bit. A nice flag and drag is going to go between the goalposts. Hatoon gets something though, so a 1-for-0 so far, but Alvance using that, getting excited to deal as much damage as he can. The Wukong has arrived. Haxtenka gonna push away any type of re-engagement, and in the mid lane, 21 picks up a kill onto Foz Maniac. Action, action, action everywhere.
I believe the pace of the game just switched to a level where even our spectator having hard time to follow. That Jinx rocket was quite close.
21 narrowly avoiding the super mega death rocket right there. That would have really put a tilt in his brain, dying to that one right there, especially after a nice play that he had on Foz Maniac. Meanwhile, top lane, there's been a lot of action in every single lane, Macaria, and I am here for it. See, already 11 kills before 10 minutes.
And you know what I love to see is that even though we've seen quite a few solo kills, there were answers by the 10th minute from the opponents as well. So even though Clarity started quite well, they had the Olaf solo killing the Jax, then they had the Cassiel solo killing, and now they did answer. And what is happening?
Answer might be here. Oxtenka is gonna take that passage out for him. Gonna keep him alive. You gotta love being able to have a teammate to be able to pull you out whenever you might be in a little bit too deep. Speaking of a little bit too deep, Chase got to be careful. He does not go too far in. CC immunity for Teletao. Hatun gonna go in there. They're gonna blow him up. Olaf now 2-1. Jack's back at the fountain.
And this is the part where the junglers come in handy. If you can't deal with your opponent 1v1, then you just ask your jungler, please have a look at what's happening on my lane. Give me a good gank. And trust me, it is gonna be a free kill. And well, it wasn't that free, but it was a kill.
A kill is a kill, especially when you're trying to get your top laner in a way that they can snowball their lead a little bit. And now Telltale is gonna get a nice recall off and finish his mythic item with that stride breaker. Having that advantage right there is so good. And see a little bit of a smite fight on that top side, but bot lane being shoved in as well. Alvance trying to get some plates for him, but Gokai gonna hit the hook onto Alvance, forcing the cleanse out, and ultimate's being pressed all around. Alvance is unstoppable, gets the pick onto Gokai, and Alvance, he wants more, shoots one more time, and it actually kills him. The Kraken Slayer above going to give the double kill over to this Jinx, who is 6-0.
650 shutdown gold next to the name of Avans Pro, and if it goes this way, that Jinx will finish the second item very fast, and that's a flash on the mid lane in the meantime.
Maniac getting insanely close to dying right there, and bet he's very appreciative that he did have flash there, but this wave is going to crash into mid lane. He's going to lose a decent bit of farm as well, but so many pings towards the top side and so many people rotating up to the top side, namely Death and Hatun. So it'll be a 3v1 if Chase isn't careful, but he did have the Tri-Brush warded, so he's going to be safe from that potential gank.
Yeah, and we get to the point where very soon the Herald will be placed. And look at this top side. Look at this top side. Poor Jax.
Yeah. They do not care who is coming, but the nice counter-strike buys enough time. They return a kill. The CC immunity isn't going to help you from a turret shot. Hatun getting very close to Hoxtenka, and he can't kill him. A nice counter gank out of Horus, making it 2-for-1.
Okay. I might just jinxed it. It wasn't poor Jax. It was Jax who got sacrificed just to get extra kill. It's a good deal for Horus Esport at this point. Now, the Herald need to be summoned very soon. And if you are Clarity, you want to give that gold to the Jinx, who's already miles ahead compared to the Xayah.
Yeah, if you can put even more gold into her pocket, she will be an absolute menace on the Rift, even more so than she already is. And Maniac in 21 getting into another little scuffle right there. Nothing's going to come of it just yet, but we do see a lot of bot lane, prio out of Aftermath right here. A good hook onto Alvance, and it is going to force the Magnetic Storm. We got to be careful. If you're Gokai, you don't want to fall this early. The Super Mag Death Rocket is going to go wide, but it does force the flash out of Gokai, and it also going to force the ultimate right there. The box not going to catch anyone just yet, but that turret is going to fall. Red team getting that first choice, and we do see some extra fighting elsewhere again. Maniac getting the solo kill on to 21. Cornfield Chase and Teletao getting another fight in them. They do not seem to want any peace in this top side.
No, the solo laners are hitting each other no matter what. Even if they don't have summoner spells, even if they do have summoner spells, if they don't have ultimate, it doesn't matter. They just go all in whenever they can. And so far, I feel like this doesn't really affect the outcome of the game. The way it looks right now, the person who's showing up the most is that Jinx. If we get to see more of that Jinx being fed, then getting close to 2-3 items will be really hard for Horus Esport, because that Jinx will just destroy them, as she's having almost an item advantage.
Yeah, got 1.5 items in her inventory right now, as well as tier 2 boots, but bot side could be in a bit of trouble. Gokai has seen this before, is going to find himself dying once again in death. Gonna try and send 21 to the fountain with his Thresh teammate, but it isn't going to matter. Alvance having to use that cleanse a little bit to get out of the slow, doesn't want to die to the Chaos Storm of 21. Cornfield Chase and Hoxtenka trying to get a nice little kill on Teletau. He does have the Ragnarok available if he needs it, and he is going to have to pop it, and the damage is just not there for Horus, but they are going to be able to push this turret a little bit.
Yeah, it was quite a good trade. Well, wait, it's not even over. It could have been a dive here on top side.
It might still be a dive. They do have a wave crashing, but we do see Hatun and Death making their way up here. So it is not over just yet. It could be the exact same scenario we saw a little bit ago. The Flash Magnetic Storm is going to provide so much damage. And CC, but a trade kill 1-for-1 so far. But Aftermath are still the ones who are going to... No! They're not even going to get another kill. Hoxtenka going to be able to get out thanks to Gokai and the Dark Passage Lantern. Alvance wasn't able to hit the Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown, so it's not going to get any assists or damage. And a good 1-for-1 trade was what really looked like a bad fight for Horus.
Yeah, and this is a fight that Horus really needs. Like, even if they don't win the fight, they need to make sure they don't lose it. So it's quite even trade. But if we look at the goal difference between the two teams, I mean, that top lane and the AD carry difference is clearly visible. Yeah. I don't want to put it. I don't want to put it in a ruthless way, but it's huge right now, and that Jinx really needs to be shut down if you are Horus and if you want to achieve more in this game.
2,500 gold difference just about for Alvance and 17-year-old Gumayushi. So, yeah, I think that is priority numero uno for Horus Esports. Yep. You gotta find a way to get on top of Alvance, but this was something that we were talking about a lot in Champ Select. Luckily, they do have a nice amount of champions that do like to have those dashes and get up right in your face. I mean, you have Hoxtenka on the Wukong, Cornfield on the Jax, as well as Gokai if he can hit a nice hook. And Foz Maniac is going to be the victim of this right here. The flash forward, the Featherstorm is going to be using a shutdown going over to 17-year-old Gumayushi. So, you know, maybe the game plan is not necessarily, I mean, the game plan is still kill the Jinx, but there's also sort of a little bit of a side quest is, you know, just get 17-year-old Gumayushi up to par with him.
That's true. That is so true. They need to find a way to 17-year-old Gumayushi get close.
Nice little Magnetic Storm onto Hoxtenka. It's got to be careful. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to go wide once again. Alvance just looking to hit one of those as he can, and you are in a very bad place with the Gale Force. Gokai gonna throw the hook in the wrong direction. There are so many members here. The flash is going to go down. Death is gonna find himself dead, is going to miss the W over the wall, but Hatun is here now, as well as Foz Maniac. There's so much going on. Cornfield on top of Fox Maniac. Is he going to be able to get the kill? It is going to go over to this Cassiopeia, and Hatun gets another one off the backside. Nearly a ace. Hoxtenka, the only surviving member, and this Rift Herald popped mid lane. They're going to be able to get this turret, and maybe Wukong is going to try and fight Hatun here. I don't know if he wins that. He did have red buff and some other spells available to him with some minions, but all the while this is happening, Teletau has just been pushing top lane. He's got more than half of this top turret.
Exactly, and we get to see the replay how the bot lane sacrificed themselves, but to be fair, Evans Pro was so cold. The way using the flash and using the Gale Force to escape crucial spells and then buying enough time for the others to arrive, even though couldn't dodge the last hook, still did quite a big amount of damage. And then at the end, it was a 2v2, which was nearly impossible to lose on the side of Clarity. They get the dragon, they get the mid lane tier 1 turret, they get 2 turrets on top side. That is huge win for them after giving the Jinx shutdown gold to the side of Horus Esports.
Yeah, and you know what's even worse is they are in an even worse position than they were with this Jinx prior to that fight. As Alvance was only about 2,500 gold up, and now he is over 3,000 gold up on this Jinx. Got a kill, then I believe 1 or 2 assists off the last fight as well. But we do see 17-year-old Gumayushi is up to 2 items, does have the Quick Blades and the Kraken Slayer himself. So he still does a decent amount of damage. Let's not, you know, like shine over that, but it's not nearly as much as Alvance. And we do see that Aftermath wanting to end this game as quick as they can, starting Baron directly on spawn.
Yeah, and it's, to be fair, not even a surprise. 2.5 item on Cassiopeia, 2.5 item on Jinx. That's just more than enough to burst down the Baron and use this power play to crack up the base, to get rid of all the tier 2 turrets that's left on mid and bot lane, and then once again that's done, just move for those inhibitor turrets. And this is the part, that was only a little zap. 20% health gone. Oh, what's happening
top
here?
side though? The CC immunity gonna help out Teletau, and it is not a 1v2 against an Olaf if you don't lose it. Teletau with the double kill. So insanely far ahead on this Olaf. Doesn't matter what you do. You guys have 2 Divine Sunderers. Oh well, I just have an ultimate that makes me immune to all CC and can run through you like it's no one's business.
And that Olaf is so tanky. He just recalled. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, Hatun getting the flag and drag is into the cage to pick up the kill on the 17-year-old Gumayushi. This mid turret gonna fall, and Aftermath wanting to end this game as quick as they can, not giving any chance for Horus to get back into it. Gokai is going to fall again. Hatun trying to pick up the kill on the 21-year-old Gumayushi. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's just 21. They're getting the ages mixed up. There's so many numbers.
Too many numbers.
Too many numbers. Hatun does get the trade kill, though, and it does look like they're going to continue pushing this mid lane. Foz Maniac finds himself in a bit of trouble right there. A nice ultimate going to provide enough CC. Tenka trying to get him. The Conqueror not going to be enough. Shutdown gold going over to him. But Wukong, there is people on your Nexus turrets. 17-year-old Gumayushi just got up and already back to the the gray screen, not the green screen. But look at this Alvance. Just shredding this turret. Doesn't even need minions to do it. Flash forward out of Gokai. Is it going to make the difference to win this fight? Teletau, that Sterak's Cage going to be popped. Can they get to him? Tenka needing to have that dash available. Does get it right there, but I don't think the damage is there. Okay, never mind. There is 21 with the TP behind. Gonna zap him down right there. And look at this gold differential. 10K gold difference.
Huge lead on the side of Aftermath Clarity, and the way they just run it down on mid basically and decided, you know what, let's end the game, looked a bit overstaying, especially after they lost the Cassiopeia. It was a bit over pushed, but I don't think it will matter in terms of the result. After a quick reset, after grouping up, Clarity can pretty much choose if they want to go for an end, or let's say for a last team fight with this huge amount of lead, or they can just start pushing one of the side lanes and get more inhibitors. There are plenty of options for them. They control the whole map at this point, and the goal difference speaks for itself.
Yeah, and even on top of all of that, you said that they might have overstayed a little bit, and yeah, maybe they did, but they got both Nexus turrets. So this is a completely exposed Nexus. Yeah. So now Horus have to be playing on the defensive the rest of the game, especially because Foz has teleport, but it doesn't even look like Aftermath care. They're just going to try and go for this Nexus. They're trying to divert their attention from the team fight and the Nexus themselves. We see Death is going to provide enough distraction for his team, and I believe they're just going for the end. They don't care about the team fight. They just want to go next. 24-minute win for Aftermath Clarity.
That's all you need. Just hit the Nexus. Once it's gone, you got the victory screen. And this is what we've seen from Aftermath. Nice gameplay, good start. And after a good start, they just snowball the game through that Jinx. And a bit of extra credit for that Olaf, because he was handling the Jax better than average, I would say.
Yeah, Teletau was really just, once he got going, it was very hard to stop that Olaf. You know, it was going pretty even in lane. Cornfield was able to get a kill. Then Teletau was able to get a kill, then Cornfield was able to get one, and then Teletau was able to get one. So it just kept going back and forth until, just halfway through the game, everyone started playing together. And then once you start playing together, this Olaf becomes an even bigger problem, because he's just going to run past your tanks, run past the people who are supposed to CC him. and then just say, all right, I'm just gonna dive on top of your carry. And I mean, if we look at the carries, if of Horus right there, 17-year-old Gumayushi and 21, 5 deaths and 4 deaths. It might not seem like a lot, but they accounted for 9 out of 26 deaths for their team. So that's not anything on them. That's not necessarily all their fault. But whenever you're playing against a team that has such a high advantage, you're not really able to play the game.
Yeah, this is so true. This is so true. And this is what we so, to be fair. Basically, Aftermath Clarity could punish Horus wherever they wanted to. This Jarvan was really active throughout the whole map, helping out on mid lane, ganking on bot lane. Even some movements were exceptionally nice and unexpected. That turnaround or that turn back when he saved the Jinx on bot lane was clutch gameplay. And this is the part where if you're Horus Esport for the next game, you need to think about, all right, how are we going to make it easier for our jungler to have bigger presence than the opponent's jungler? Because this was one of the key moments in general in this game, that the Jarvan was, I would say, the Jarvan found more useful situations than the Wukong could.
Yeah, just more useful situations, just getting. And I think also that helps with the priority that his teammates had in their lanes. Because I mean, whenever you have a bot lane that is just destroying as much as Aftermaths did, you have a lot more freedom to take dragons, to go for Herald, to look for plays mid. It makes it a lot easier to do all of those things. And something that I'm thinking for next game, specifically in the champ select department. If Horus were banning out so many mid lane champions that forced Foz onto the Cassiopeia, I'm scared of what Foz can do on those champions that they banned, because this Cassiopeia was absolutely insane.
That is true. That is true. And to be fair, Cassio is one of those champions that if you pull her out, she might be way too strong, way too early, because obviously her passive lets her not buy boots. That's, I would say, a huge advantage, because that gold can be turned into proper items, and if you complete your second, third item before your opponents, then you will be super strong in mid game as a Cassiopeia, and we saw exactly that when he was in a 2v1. He still managed to get a kill back. So I would say that Cassio might worth a ban rather than the other champs we've seen.
We will have to see what Horus decides to bounce back in this series. Are they going to level it out at 1-1, or are they going to fall 0-2? I mean, this is going to be the make or break game for them. Like we were saying, it is a best of 2, so there's not another game after this. So Horus need to make a statement, and they need to make it quick. We are going to hop into a short break while we get everything set up. So grab some popcorn, because we are in for another banger of a game here in the next few minutes. hope you guys got your popcorn like I told you to, because Horus and Aftermath looking to get into game 2 here in a few minutes. We're going to just look at some of these, highlights from this past game as Aftermath Clarity just sort of ran through Horus right there. I mean, 24-minute win. I mean, what more could you want at going into this week 2? And Horus, this is not the way they wanted to start off their debut.
Not at all. It was clearly a statement from Clarity, who we could say are veterans in the league. And then Horus Esports got their welcome present, I would say, with this game. Now, it's time for them to really show how can they react, how can they spice up the things for the second game, and maybe give a good answer and show their true potential.
Yeah, I think the message that Aftermath were sending is, welcome to the league, Horus. This is exactly how they, wanted to play this game. But I mean, it's like we're saying, it's not over. Horus still have the opportunity to level this out at 1-1. So best of 2 series, it's not a, best of 1 single game that you play. You do have the opportunity to make sure that you don't go down 0-2, because that's definitely not the way you want to begin your Cobalt Wins League season, because it really just puts you in a bit of a pit if you go down right there, because then in your next match you have to win both of your games to even level it back out, or else you're just going to be in that constantly behind your opponents in the standings. Aftermath obviously looking to make sure that doesn't happen. But talking about moving into champ select and everything like that, we were talking a little bit about it before we went on to break. What champions we might see banned away, what champions we might see picked, and something that neither of us really talked about that I think we might see is I believe we might see Horus banning away Death's Rel, because that Rel was such an underappreciated asset of Aftermath Clarity, I believe, in that last game.
Yeah, and to be fair, she is way too strong in the current meta that you are correct. She might as well just get banned. And also, if you are Horus, you need to... Because what we've seen in this draft is that basically they were not really giving up any lanes. They were not willing to sacrifice any lanes during the draft. They decided, you know what, the Jax can match the Olaf, the Victor is a good scaler and good blind pick on the mid lane. It's quite even matchup during the laning phase against the Cassio, and I would say it could be the same thing said about the bot lane as well. Now, how are they going to change the draft for the second game? Can they maybe just draft for top lane and say, you know what, I'm the jungler, I will not turn up for that top lane during laning phase. We will meet around the 20th minute. This is what I'm curious about, if they were willing to do that.
Sometimes, picking a tank in the top lane and just, having that agreement, that handshake agreement saying, I'm not going to fight you, you're not going to fight me, we're just going to farm.
And then, you know what, with this, they can enable Gurkay to just help out the bot lane or the mid lane even more time, So I think this would be a thing to take in consideration.
Yeah, having a support that is able to roam around the map and help out your team is so incredibly helpful. And we do see Horus banning away Teletau's Olaf right there, respecting the pick and how insane it was. Still using that Sejuani ban that we saw in the last game as well. And, I believe Aftermath, I don't know if they banned Silas last game. Maybe they did and I just overlooked it, but already 2 mid lane bans out of them, and that Cassiopeia as well. So Horus paying respect to 2 of the picks that Aftermath picked last game.
Nico is through. That's something we need to keep an eye out for. Nico, Kaisa, and as well Rel is managed to escape the ban phase somehow. So what's next now?
Yeah, keep in mind, Kaisa was also banned in that first game, so we didn't see Alvance on that. We saw him on the Jinx, and We see the Zaya Leona going to be locked in for Horus, but Death back on that Rel. Hatun hovering the Teemo once again. Like I said, I don't believe we are going to see this pick, even though I desperately want to see a Teemo, especially in the jungle. If Hatun is the one playing it, I don't think the clear speed would be good at all levels 1 through 5. Maybe at level 6 when you have some mushrooms to work with, but is just going to lock in that J4, and 21 going to pick up the Ahri, which was also banned last game.
Yep, an early blind pick mid lane for 21, and to be fair, I like to see this Ahri, especially because Rel will engage, Jarvan will engage, but with Ahri, you can just use your charm to stop them, or at least to slow them down. That would be very, very useful, I would say, in certain situations. And also, Kai'Sa doesn't have that huge range that it would be impossible to get close to her. So the way I see it right now, for the second phase of the draft, if you are Horus Esport, you need more champions that can help you with disengage. Because clearly, if your opponent picks Kai'Sa, they pick Rel and Jarvan, that's a dive team comp. They will try and dive you early, even like level 3, level 4. So you need champions who can survive those kind of dives, and you need champions who can back off when it's a 5v5 team fight, or at least slow them down with their engage.
You know, I didn't even think of the Poppy as a pick, but that would be a phenomenal counter against Aftermath. But Hoxtenka going to lock in the Viego for himself, and they're going to leave top lane up for the counter pick, and it's just going to be an insta-lock Cassante into the Jax. And both of these teams, one for Horus, looking completely different than what they did last game, all except for 17-year-old Gumayusi on that Zaya. But Aftermath Clarity bringing back 3 out of the 5 champions they had last game. And you know, I think one of the only things barring them from having a completely exact same team comp is, you know, just the bans. I mean, Olaf being banned, Cassiopeia being banned, just making, actually, hold on. Never mind. Jax was on
the other side.
Yeah. Jax was in the game. He wasn't on Aftermath though. But yeah, the J4, the Rel, being brought back once again. And I think that's really all you need for this composition to really flourish.
Yeah, and that's the funny part. Like, I was saying such a long monologue about the dive team comp, and then they pick Jax and Vladimir. I mean, Jax maybe, but I don't think they will use Vladimir too many times to dive the opponents. It can work out with your little pool, but I don't think it will still happen. And also, on the other side, Horus has got the Viego in the jungle, who is, I believe, doesn't really fit in this team comp in general, because you need to find a shutdown to have the Viego passive available. And after that, once he gets the reset, then he can really shine. But to shut down someone, you usually pick champs who can basically one-shot the opponent, or after a big lockdown with the CC, you just get rid of them. And I'm not sure if they will have enough damage to do that against this Clarity team comp.
Yeah, but even with that, you don't necessarily always need someone that does a lot of damage, because if we look at Aftermath, they have 2 champions that are phenomenal with CC, namely J4 and Rel. So maybe if you are able to blow up Death and then, you know, transform into that Rel and provide some quick CC for your team, it might not be the most damage in the world, but if you are able to, you know, enable 17-year-old Gumayusi to, you know, just line up those feathers with the CC. Because keep in mind, you also have Gokai on this Leona, who will be able to use so much CC. I believe has 3 different forms of hard CC in, you know, the Shield of Daybreak, the Zenith Blade, and then the Solar Flare. I mean, all of those being able to line up charms with 21 or the feathers of 17-year-old Gumayusi. So I think Horus's comp, it can work well in skirmishes, but if you get that 5v5, I think the AoE potential out of Aftermath is just too great of a you know, wall to hurdle over.
Yeah, and the other good thing for Aftermath in this matchup is their bot lane is basically ready to play the 2v2 anytime. They can... I always see Rel as an upgraded Leona. For some reason, she's very similar in playstyle. You go in and it's really hard to get out. But ever since Rel got a bit reworked, she got much better doing those going in, CC chain, and not really getting out. But she got better than Leona in this meta. And the other thing is that stands out for me is having paired with Kai'Sa. She will be available to put the Kai'Sa passive on opponents from level 6 so easily. That will be tough to handle.
We'll have to see how well Horus and Aftermath are able to play in this game. Aftermath looking to take it 2-0. Horus looking to make it 1-1 and save a little bit of their dignity after that quick loss in game number 1. We're going to hop into a short break while we set everything up. So if you didn't get that popcorn earlier, you got a little bit more time to do so. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back for this best of 2 between Aftermath Clarity and Horus Esports. We do see Aftermath rotating up to this top side, similar to how they did last game, going all towards bot. And Flash with the immediate over right there. Death trying to get some damage onto Chase. The flag gonna hop down on top of him, and Death,
was a good try. It was a good try. it wasn't completely in synergy with the rest of the team, I would say. I mean, the others were a bit behind, but it was still a good try.
A bit of a miscommunication there. I mean, it would have been good if your team was close enough, but
You know what
yeah.
happened? As soon as they've been seen by the Casante, the rail went in. Basically, this will happen. So the others were a bit far, and Death reacted much quicker than the rest of the team.
Oh, but he's not done. If we look mid lane, the Hex Flash over the wall. 21-year-old. Is he going to have to burn the Flash here? I don't think he is, but he is going to lose half of his health bar. So while Death is a little bit late to, the bot lane minions, does help out Fozmaniac in the mid lane and Chase. Now to get stunned up by Teletao right there. I believe I take the Jax level 1 against the Cassante, especially when he has Counter-Strike available. And Teletao just denying XP away from Chase. I believe he still got some of the XP because he was a little bit closer to it. But yeah, good work out of Aftermath so far.
The way they came out to the second game, they really following what they started in the first match. And Death going in once again, but this time it could be painful for them.
Yeah, keep in mind, Alban, since you got to lane earlier, he does get the level 2, but the Flash is going to go for 17-year-old Gumayushi, but Death actually flings him back over the shoulders, so nothing is going to come of it just yet. Hatun is here available. The flag and drag is close. Keep in mind, 17-year-old Gumayushi does not have Flash, so this is a very dead Xayah Alban. So don't get too close or you might die. Flag and drag going to provide it right there, and Alban's going to be the one to secure first blood. Aftermath peeking up right where they left off.
Can't believe how well Clarity does this. Let's give the first blood to our AD carry thing. It's the second game in a row, and this time it's for a Kai'Sa. I mean, this is just the greatest start that could happen to them. And if it goes this way, look at the amount of XP that Xayah is losing in the same time. I mean, the minions are just underneath the turret. That is great start to kick off the second game if you are Clarity.
Yeah, and if we look at all of these CS numbers, all of them look pretty normal, but then we see top lane, who is having a little bit of an issue right here, farming these as a tank. But Death, once again, in the mid lane, the Hex Flash over is going to miss the stun up. 21 going to get ignited right there, but we do see Hoxenka is here for the counter. Death just going to be able to use that dive over the wall right there to keep himself from perishing, but Death seemingly using this ignite on cooldown.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's damage that goes on the opponents, and it will be a bit tougher laning phase for them. The thing is, I don't know how much does it worth to spend so much time trying to gank the Vladimir. I mean, he can't really set up ganks for you. Oh no.
Death could be in some trouble right here, but a nice knock-up. 21 going to flash over the wall, use that orb to try and get some damage. Hoxenka trying to get the pick onto Death, and he gets the reset available. Fozmaniac going to get stunned up and almost knocked around right there. Gokai going to miss the Zenith Blade, and a nice pick out of Horus.
And this is what you were saying. If that Viego gets the body of Rel, then it can be problematic situation for Aftermath Clarity. And this is the part where you don't really want to gank the Vladimir. I mean, he needs a couple of items until he will be really reliable. Oh, the top lane.
Ooh. Nice flash out of Cornfield to dodge the counter-strike out of Teletao. And Teletao recognizing that if he stays any longer, those minions will just tear him apart. But we do see Hatun might be coming top lane to do just that. Cornfield, you might have stayed a little bit too long. Teletao counter-striking in right there, and Hatun is still going to get the assist despite doing no damage. And Alvance on the other side of the map going to get caught under the turret. Death just using that steed to get out right there, and a trades of kills happening all over the map.
Yeah, and this time around, it was Alvance who died a bit earlier than should have. On the top lane, the way Tal2 went in and basically had Toon just throw the flag that gave the assist to the Jarvan. Big fight, huge fist fight between the two supports.
What more could you want in a game of League of Legends than a tank fight like that? Death and Gokai just at each other's throats, just wanting to be annoying, if nothing else. Death getting very close, but now Alvance is back. He does have a recall off. Keep in mind, 17-year-old Gumayushi still only on a Doran's Blade, and goodbye, Gokai. Alvance and Death are able to push this wave now, try and get some priority, but mid lane could be into trouble as well. Hatun is just going to have to back off, though. The turret providing 21 with enough safety.
Yeah, and the pings are going out that Fuzzmaniac shouldn't really push or move forward because he might just get punished. That bot lane overstay from Gokai was a bit unlucky. The way Death was baiting them was perfect on the other hand. And now Adams Pro and Death need to move a bit back. We've got the first Drake alive for a couple of minutes now, but no one's really going for it just yet. But it would be the perfect time if you're the Viego to grab it. And then you will have an option in a minute time to even try and move for the first Herald of the game if you want to. Because your Ahri will have Spirit Rush available. Xante, I assume, will have Ultimate available as well. And in that case, the 3v3 is really strong in Horus eSport.
Yeah, Horus, they do have some nice abilities, ultimates to their name. Speaking of which, on the top side, Cornfield gonna pop the all out. Hatun is here, so he's got to be careful. Is going to still get the knockup, but Hatun's got to be careful that Cassante still does a decent amount of damage, and he might pay for it, but no, going to live by the skin of his teeth. Teletau coming in to save his jungler, and now Cornfield is in such a bad position. This wave is going to crash into his turret, and we see Teletau might stay to get a plate as well. Hoxtenka is rotating up there on the map. Note, Teletau is going to play the safe move, doesn't want to be greedy right there and overstay his welcome.
And this is really painful because, oh, can I? Yeah, I think I can start to explain it. So what happened is basically Cornfield Chase used his ultimate and used everything to try and get a kill back, but in the worst possible timing, because now you force your Viego to go for the Herald, but you can't really help out. I mean, if the Jax is coming with the Jarvan, them together will be quite strong because of the free kill on the Jax. However, they still start the Herald, but I think they need to let it go. Even Rev is moving up, so that's just 4v3.
Oh, we see as Hoxtenka had DC'd for a second, but oh, the pause is here, but they say that he reconnected in chat, so maybe they're just making sure that everything is firing on all cylinders before we hop back into this. But yeah, I don't believe that Horus can safely go for this Herald, without paying for it with their life. But got a replay going on right here of that, that last top lane fight, and it was a very good look out of Cornfield, almost pushing Teletau under the turret right there for a little bit longer, and then the flag and drag out of Hatun. And Hatun, look at his health as he survives this.
Yeah,
like that is
one digit. That is 1 digit number, that's for sure. But it was still bigger than 0, I guess. And this is previous game picture. But the thing is,
no, you're good, yeah.
Because he survived, obviously it was a pretty great timing in terms of reset. He got some XP, he got his level 6, now he's got available the Cataclysm to use if needed. Also, the Jax has got ultimate ready. So we are at the point where if you are Horus eSport, you just need to let the Herald go. And you can't really contest it, even though your Ahri is looking pretty solid.
Yeah, 21 is having a lot better of a game. He's still, even, saying that though, still down 21 CS at 9 minutes, which is absolutely abysmal when you're going into the Vladimir, because the Vladimir also has yet to recall. He has yet to spend any of his money and is currently sitting on $2,400. So he could buy quite a bit to help him improve his lane state, or he can, rotate up to help his team on the Herald like Death and Alvance are, because they managed to, push in that bot wave, to give them prio. They can go up towards mid lane. They can go up towards that Herald. They can even rotate all the way to top lane, as we've seen Death already, attack top lane at the very start of the game, and now even more possibilities for them to, make it work. And Horus, they are still down a decent amount of gold. They're down 2,000 gold just about at this point in the game. So I think the only thing they exceptionally have going for them is that they have a dragon to their name.
Yeah.
So if you can try and get another dragon and have that separation right there, because if you allow Aftermath to even up the dragons, it can really hurt yourself in the long run.
Yeah, especially with Chemtech Dragon being the next one, that will be very useful in general fights as well. But would you call that 2.4 or 2.5k gold on the Vladimir greed by being out here? I mean, we are almost 9 minutes into the game, and he still didn't back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little bit of greed, but also consider, because it's greed, and it's okay to be greedy every now and again when when the enemy jungler is, or where timers of summoner spells, like for example teleport and everything like that. But if you look at the turret,
Herald,
for
Herald, well, that's the thing.
Herald as well. But yeah, I mean, if we look at the turret of 21, it is full health just about. So it's not like Foz has been using this momentum, push the turret and everything like that. He's barely gotten any damage on it. And the Herald, I mean, it just spawned a little bit ago, so maybe he was staying to, help his team do that. But if he doesn't go and help with Herald, then yeah, I think it is 100% a bad decision out of Foz, because at this point, you could really pressure your opponent by having that gold advantage.
Exactly. By just simply having those little components for your first item would help a lot. And I guess we are back, right?
Everyone everyone had DC'd, reconnected, and even a few more people had DC'd to try and fix things, and the action picking up right where we left off, and we see both teams huddling around this Herald.
Yeah, but the Vladimir is nowhere near, so this could be a 3v3 or even a 3v4 if 21k decide to join.
Yeah, had a little bit of a issue right there with the technical side of all of our streams, but we do see that Horus, they say thank you for the leash, and they're gonna take that Herald away, and that's a little bit of a misstep out of Aftermath. And we were just saying it before we came back from the pause. Foz recalling at such an inopportune time and not able to rotate up and help his team.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were discussing, and basically it happened right as we get back from the break. Vladimir decided to reset, and then he couldn't help his team, so his team decided, you know what, we're not gonna flip this fight, or we're not gonna flip this Herald, we will just let it go. And it's a great opportunity for Horus. And we got
we see a lot of action going on bot lane and in the top lane. A bot lane dive gonna pick up a kill on the 17-year-old Gumayushi. But on the top side, Teletau got attacked by two different people, and the Herald, I presume, is going to be popped on top side. So plates are going to be taken bot, but plates are going to be taken top for sure.
That is huge for Horus, because they have the Herald. That will help them. That's 3 turret plates right now. But on the bot lane, I don't think they took that many.
I believe they only got... Okay, actually, no. Yeah, they actually got 3. So the same amount as top side.
Yeah. But the positive for Aftermath is the Kaisa having the first item completed, which is the static shift. That will give a bit of extra poke damage. Also, it will make it easier to clear the wave. So right now, they will look for more options to fight with Horus. And there we go.
More options to fight, especially happening right now. 17-year-old Gumayushi does not have an ultimate or a flash, and just got back to lane and is already heading back with the gray screen right there. And that is just such a sad sight to see, walking up, trying to, farm a little bit, not having the backside warded, and Death flashing over, but we could see a bot lane engage. The teleport out of 21 coming in. Alvance is in a bit of trouble getting ignited up there. 21 surely going to pick up the kill onto him. One more auto will do it. Having to use the Spirit Rush backwards, but Death is still going to find Death himself. And this dragon spawns in under 40 seconds, so a nice counter engage out of Horus.
Yeah, and this is what I want to see from Horus. They find this catch. They find the answer after the aggression that's coming from Aftermath Clarity. And they get kills, like very important kills. Even some going for the Ahri. Now, Tasmaniac.
Gokai going in there with the Zenith Blade, but a nice dunk onto them. Doesn't get any damage, Wheatley. At the very least, it looked cool, but so much fight happening in the mid lane as well as the top lane. If we look at those health bars, everything was getting low up there. And Death, oh my gosh, just going in with the Magnetic Storm, trying to pick up Gokai. Death, my friend, you are a support, not a level 16 Akali. You cannot just go in there and expect to blow everybody up.
Why did he want it to go in? This is my question. I mean, support for a support, but okay.
Oh,
what's
a
happening
nice
here?
Flash out of Hatun right there is going to pick up the kill onto Hoxtenka, but Alvance is here. 21 cannot take this fight anymore. A flag and drag. Is it going to be enough to keep Hatun alive? It is, and now Alvance, as well as Aftermath, are the ones who, after that last, misstep out of Death, they are the ones who are poised to take this dragon.
Right, it really looks like the teams are not holding back at all. They don't really want to respect the other. They're just going all in wherever they can. They're trying to get as many kills as they can. And we are only 13.5 minutes into the game. The second dragon was picked up by Clarity. But the way it looks right now, there's a 205 Jarvan on one side. And there is a quite fat Viego on the other side, 412. The problem is, the Kai'Sa is a bit fat as well, having almost 40 CS advantage.
Yeah, and if we're able to look at that gold differential between champions, a 2,000 gold difference just in the ADCs themselves. So Alvance, having the exact same performance as he had last game, and 21 popping the Spirit Rush, I guess, to help clear the wave a little bit, get some extra damage. But Teletau not realizing that there is a Viego in the bush, having to flash away Cornfield, knowing it was happening all along. But Teletau is not going to escape. It looked like he was good for a second, but Hoxtenka is still going to die. Went in for the reset and is going to find himself falling. A double kill going over to Aftermath.
Double kill for the Jarvan, 405, and we've got another action on the mid lane.
Fosmaniac popped his ultimate to get some extra healing for himself. 21 hits the charm onto it, but it's not going to matter. Solar Flare and the Ignite onto him. The Ignite going to be the difference maker potentially, but Death goes in with the Magnet Storm. Gonna be able to blow everybody up. Getting what he wants. Gokai getting in too deep. Finally finding something for himself.
And that's, I would say, 3 kills in a very short period on the side of Clarity that they just picked up, while we get to see very soon the first threat might fall. Evans Pro just deleting that Xayah from existence.
Yeah, I just think that is a lack of respect out of 17-year-old Gumayusi.
Yeah.
You are under half HP. You know he has an item advantage on you, and he's a Kai'Sa. He does good base damage, and just not respecting that right there. Dying, losing a lot of minions, losing your turret, and now your team is going to lose this Herald potentially, but it is a 3v4, and it's actually Horus who, are they going to be able to get this Herald again? They're going to be able to steal this away for the second straight time, and they might steal a few kills on top of it as well. Hoxtenka gets the kill onto Death. The nice Cataclysm going to separate the teams. Alvance is here though, and he has a lot of damage. 2 items for him. Hoxtenka going to fall. Fosmaniac going to be the one to secure that, and Teletau gets a kill. So yeah, if you're Horus, you got the Herald, but you lost 3 of your team members.
Yeah, that's 3 for nothing once again, and that worth much more than just picking up a second Herald of the game. I believe Horus Eastport wasn't aware of how close is the Kai'Sa to this team fight, and once Evans Pro arrived, it was over from that point. 15-9 after 16 minutes of gameplay. There isn't much time where I get to talk more than 2 sentences because there's just way too many actions. And to be fair, I love these type of games where you just can't predict what's going to happen in the next 20 seconds, but you know there will be a fight where someone will die.
Death is happening all around us. 24 kills in a 17-minute game so far. Dragon spawns in about a minute and 20. Death wanting to find 17-year-old Gumayushi, and it's going to force the ultimate and the flash away. That feels so bad, coming so close to this dragon. The ultimate, is it going to be up? No, the ultimate's not even going to be up either. The flash definitely won't be up. And I mean, I think if you're Horus, can you reasonably, fight for this dragon? You have the numbers right now, but Teletao has teleport if need be. So does 21 for that matter, I guess. But you just don't want to risk losing another team fight. But Hatun might be caught out here. The teleport early out of 21, but the flag and drag over the wall for Hatun isn't going to be enough to get him out. No, it isn't. The Cataclysm going to be used, but stopped even before it can get the the walls up. All the while, Teletao was pushing that turret, forcing Cornfield to use his own teleport, and Teletao's now going to, TP back in to try and help his team. It's a 4v4. This Cassante is on the top side, cannot join anyone, but even just for the time being, there's not much more you can do if you're Aftermath Clarity.
No, none of the teams can really go for the dragon just yet. Horus is because they zoned out. Aftermath is because they don't have Smite. Hatun coming back alive just now. I believe they can start the Drake as soon as it spawns. But somehow Horus needs some answers to that, and the best way is maybe to let Cornfield chase to take down the top lane tier 1 turret and steal as much as you can from the jungle. Because then they're even losing the mid lane. That is a lot that Clarity is taking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what Horus have going for them is they got a little bit of an objective bounty off the top turret. Yeah, that helps a little bit, but I think they would much prefer to have this dragon and as well keep their mid lane inner turret, but the top lane inner turret for Aftermath Clarity might fall here. This Herald gonna destroy so much of the health, and yet is going to fall. So 2 turrets for 1 turret and a dragon. Some say that might be worth. Yokai, though, gotta be careful. The Cataclysm is available for Hatun, and the Solar Flare gonna try and provide some space, but it's not going to matter. Gokai gonna fall to Alvance, and this Baron spawns in 30 seconds, Macaria, and I think Aftermath Clarity looking to do what they did last game and just take it off spawn.
Exactly. As soon as this reset is done by Evans, that Kai'Sa will move to the Baron pit, and they will start doing it, or they will just force Horus Eastport to fight for the Baron, and that will most likely end up in a one-sided fight, having a 4k gold lead in the hands of Aftermath Clarity. It's not an easy thing to be Horus Eastport in this game right now. Oh no,
you don't really know what you can do to get back into it. And Cornfield actually going to pop the all out onto Death to provide some extra damage. Alvan's going to use that killer instinct in. Teletao picks up the first kill of the fight, but it looks like there's so much grouping together that Gokai trying to get something going. Hastanka getting a good ultimate, but not going to secure anything. Featherstorm used out of 17-year-old Gumayushi's 21 might burn down here. No, it isn't going to burn down. Watch out for the Kai'Sa W. Isn't going to hit. Hatun flagging and dragging in right there. Haxtenka going to be the subject of death. 3-for-0 trade, and now Aftermath Clarity have their eyes on the big purple worm in the river.
And no one's there to steal it at this stage of the game. They got rid of Haxtenka, who could try and go with a smite. Still, it's not gonna happen. Free Baron after 21 minutes of gameplay. They've got not just a solid lead, but basically the game is in their hands to throw it if they want to. But that would be obviously the harder part. I mean, 3-item Kai'Sa, Rabadon's second item for Foes Maniac almost completed. He needs about 1,000 gold, and that's pretty much it. And then everybody else completed their second item in the lines of Clarity. So it's really hard for Horus Esports to defend now, but they need to somehow buy enough time to this Baron buff to expire.
Yeah, but that is going to be incredibly difficult to do because it'll be on for about another 2 minutes, which is more than enough time for Clarity to run through all of the turrets. We see them having this, semi 1-3-1 composition. We have Hatun, who was in the jungle but is now joining Alvance and Death in the mid lane, and Telltale not even caring that Chase is here, but is just trying to take this turret, and there's not really much that this Cassante can do. Flag and drag, though, in the mid lane. Some fighting is happening, and it looks like a 2-for-0 so far. Make it a 2-for-1. Death is going to die himself. A 2-for-2. Looking at it right here, Alvance doing so much damage, though. Cornfield trying to buy as much space as he can, but is just going to find himself back in the fountain. Alvance flashing forward, but doesn't have any mana, almost going to die to the turrets. A 4-for-1. Death saying, I'm just mad that I died right there. And Aftermath Clarity looking to end this game in less time than the first one. Teleport used out of Teletai. Gokai going in there trying to pick off Alvance, and he does actually do it, and it looks like he bought enough time for Haxtenka to get up. 3-2 fight. Hatun having to use that flash out, so Aftermath Clarity not able to finish this game just yet, but Macaria, I can only see it as inevitable.
Yeah, it is inevitable indeed. The only, I would say, possible option left is they somehow steal the dragon and ace about 2 or 3 times if you are Horus Esports to get back in this game. I mean, more than 10k gold lead in the hands of Aftermath Clarity is more than enough to just end the game whenever you want. Next Drake will spawn in about 10 seconds. That is basically a free food for you if you are Clarity, and from then on you just start pushing whichever lane you want to go in.
Yeah, as we saw in that last replay, I think Alvance is just too far ahead, as well as Hatun. Because keep in mind, Alvance and Hatun have the exact same amount of kills. So even though Alvance seems like he's doing all the work, Hatun has been playing insane on this J4. Had it in game 1, is even better on it in game 2, surprisingly. And Alvance has all the necessary items that he needs, has the Rage Blade, has Nash's Tooth, has the Static Shiv, and I believe might be working on a Rabadon's based on that needlessly large. Might be something different, but it doesn't matter what I think. A nice flash forward out of Teletao to try and get some extra CC onto the entire backline. Gokai going to be getting very low. A Cataclysm going to be used to separate the team. Double kill, make it more than just that. 4-for-0, 2 double kills. Death, the only one falling once again. Haxtenka leaving the game because he knows of the inevitable. Hatun flagging and dragging in right there. This turret going to fall. They don't even need minions. The next is going to be next. And Aftermath Clarity welcoming Horus Esports into the league with a prompt pre-25-minute win in both matches. And
we've seen over 40 kills in that 25 minutes. I have to say this was a massacre. Both teams did their best, but at the end Clarity coming out victorious, and to be fair, they were pretty much owning the whole map. I'm not saying from the start, but after about 10-15 minutes we could clearly see they have a very strong lead. And it was coming mostly from bot lane, but as you mentioned, Hatun on the Jarvan did big part of the job by being so active on the whole Rift, as well as the first game and the second game too. He was basically the heart of this team.
The heart of the team, and the backbone of it as well, because it did look like Horus were putting up a solid fight. I mean, they were pretty even going into around the 10-minute or so mark, but then just a bunch of snowballing games back to back to back to back, and it just kept going downhill for them. So You cannot do that and then expect to try and come back into this game, especially when Alvance is getting so far ahead, when Hatun is doing so incredibly well on this J4. I mean, all the cylinders were firing for Aftermath Clarity in this game. They just wanted to get done. They just wanted to win this game as soon as they could. And even despite a few corny plays out of Death, who just decided he wanted to fight at every single moment as he could, and sometimes it paid off, sometimes it was very silly, and he just looked not like the brightest player in the league. But Horus Esports just not able to, weather the storm that was the engagements of Aftermath.
That is so true. That is so true. And even though I would say they did some nice and flashy plays, we've seen some good picks from them. At the end, we could see even from the draft that it will be hard for them to win. I mean, the first game was one of those drafts where if it would be even, then the game might go to 30 minutes. But the second game was even more one-sided because the Rel and Kaisa was pretty much impossible to beat in general. And that's where you need to choose your bans really carefully, whoever team you are, basically.
Yeah, I think, in game one, you might have had it in the back of your mind that this Rel is pretty good. Maybe you even knew that Hatun liked to play J4, and you could try and do something like that. But after the performance in game one, there are so many champions that Aftermath Clarity were doing phenomenal on, and in that first wave of bans, you can obviously only ban so many of them. So they banned away the Olaf and they banned away the Cassiopeia, but they kept the ban for the Sejuani. So maybe they understood that Hatun was even better on the Sejuani than he was on, the J4. But whenever you banned away the Olaf and the Cassiopeia, you left up Kaisa, which is something you banned in game one. And we obviously see why you banned it, because Alvance is insanely good on this champion. And all the while, all of those things we're talking about them, you let Death have Rel for a second game in a row. I mean, the first thing is Rel is insanely good, like you've been saying this entire time. And I mean, it pays off when you were able to have that continuity from game one into game two, playing the exact same champion, because you don't need to worry about changing up your playstyle. Just do it again.
That is true, but I would say all in all, Horus Esports did put up a good fight, especially in the second game. They took quite a few kills. That was unexpected, and we have to say they got their welcome games in the league. Maybe not how they planned previously, but they're here, and I believe it's a great learning opportunity for this team to perform better for the upcoming games.
Yeah, and I mean that's also the name of the game for this. This is Horus's debut. So obviously not how you want your debut to go. You obviously at least want to win one game in your debut. Going down 0-2 just makes you look really bad starting into this. But every team has off days, so maybe this was just one of Horus's off days. Maybe they didn't scrim as much this week, or maybe they just got in their heads too much after game one, and then it just spiraled into game two. But Horus really need to keep their head up, because if you get into this funk about losing every single game, or how like you might have had a pretty poor performance in your first two games, then you're going to continue to have those poor performances to continue. But we do have the MVP votes for this series, and the MVP votes, if you look at the channel, the only option is Death. So we believe that logic is pretty favorable to Death being the MVP of this series. And yeah, like we were saying, this Rel pick, insanely good, very much an unsung hero for this Clarity team, and making the picks worth. And there were a few times where, like we were saying, he went in and we were like, what are you doing? Like, that is not a good engagement. But overall, it paid off for his team. Hatun playing insanely good as well. Alvance playing insanely good, but having the extra CC and team fight pressure of this rel makes all the difference.
Yeah, and to be fair, the good thing about this rel is that basically she is the meta support right now. So you will see her, I would say 9 out of 10 tournaments or leagues that you tune in, you will see a rel. That's guaranteed in the current meta. And Death learned this champion to a point where it is a threat at any moment in the game. It looks beautiful and the well-deserved MVP, I would say, without even any I don't know what is the best word, without having any concerns that anyone else would get it.
Death with a well-deserved MVP, and that's gonna do it for us here at the Cobalt Wins Lead. Makaria, any last things you want to say before we sign off?
Ban Aral, please, if you want to climb. That's all. That's all.
You are listening to some top tier knowledge right there. If you are listening, the rest of the teams for the Cobalt Wins League, ban Rel, especially if you are going up against Aftermath Clarity, or else
true.
Death will make you pay for it. And that is just there's nothing more that I could really say on that as well. But keep in mind, everyone, there are going to be streams tomorrow evening as well. So we are going to be done for today, but that doesn't mean that we are done for the rest of the weekend. So if you want to keep up with the Cobalt Wins League action, make sure you tune in tomorrow to see how many games we got going on then. But other than that, I've been Podslam. My co-caster's been Makaria. We hope you all have a wonderful night.